So that, Bob, I see you sneaking up on me, distracting me. I might not be Harry Kim, but, you know, leave me alone for a minute. Where was I? Oh yeah, we outsource all of the bad stuff and just want to have the good stuff. And now we are feeling what it's like to be on the production side of energy. Now, it's not just us. I've been communicating with the wind farm people who are posing down on Molokai and Lanai. There are some very, very good people there that have the same problem we're having. And wind energy generates these LFNs too. It's also called wind turbine syndrome, which is a lesser, not as serious as VAD with wind turbines. And people all over the world are complaining about these things. But there are noise mitigation firms that can come out and measure LFN, put up noise protection, and I am shocked, to be quite honest, that PGV hasn't, and it should be in like standard operating procedure, that every geothermal plant has state-of-the-art noise mitigation. I mean, it makes no sense. We should have the best energy and the highest tech. I mean, this is Hawaii. Our environment is extremely important. Our lifestyle is extremely important.
It costs money, Sid.
I know. And that, well, it costs only tens of thousands of dollars to actually erect these big vinyl walls around these noisy plants that they even do in urban areas. And the drilling is tolerated there. Of course, we're much more sensitive to sound also, because we live in a very quiet area where there's not as much noise. We're really sensitive. People who are in urban settings are used to noise, and living along highways generates LFNs. So anyway, Bob, let me wrap up. Okay. Show you something. Okay, so the bottom line is this. I think the smartest first step would be anybody who's right now living around PGV and feel they may have some health issues, especially children, should probably get, I mean, we have to find out how to do this, but if we got echocardiogram and show that this is VAD, then it shows that the LFNs are significant enough, and that's the issue. If we measure LFNs first, we still haven't proven that that's causing these problems, because a lot of these problems are general problems that can be caused by other things too. But the way to show definitively that it's vibroacoustic disease is by these echocardiograms, which is really not a hard thing to do, and it's non-invasive. So I think there are methods of showing that there is actual impact, if there is. And I think we have to responsibly address that issue. LFNs need to start being measured and no longer ignored. We need further research into this, and not put our heads in the sand and make believe that this problem doesn't exist if we don't study it. Because we're like guinea pigs. We can do a prospective study, wait until they do the next drilling, the next well, take everybody's health histories, and wait 10 years and see what we have. That's how science works. But we want to be proactive because we don't want to wait 10 years to see what it did to us. So, thank you.
Thank you, Sid. And I want to tell you, we're going to be working with Adler. I've already brought that up with him. So, I didn't mean to rush you off the stage, but we're not ignoring your issue. So that wraps up the speakers. Thank you again, Sid. So, a couple of more things, and then we're going to open it up and have questions. If anybody has any questions, we'll try and answer your questions. But, so let's see, sign making. We have a sign up sheet back there on the table for sign making, and we have I'll have to find the other one. I can't remember what it was. Excuse me?
It says that I announced that there is a sign-up sheet again for health people, right?
There is a sign-up sheet in the back for health studies. Please, that's one of the things we're going to be presenting to Peter Adler, and that's a really important thing. So, okay, so if any of the speakers are still here and want to come back up, is Is Dominic still here? You want to come out? Anybody want to ask questions? Okay, so when we do the questions, you're going to have to take turns. If you ask a question, then let everybody else ask questions before you come back up and start asking more questions. Okay, Joyce.
Bob, this is a question for Dominic. You're gone.
He's right behind you.
He's right behind me. Hey, Dominic.
Hi, Joyce.
Hi, Dominic. Okay, here's the question. Please clear up this confusion, and please, everybody, kind of listen to this. You said that a new council member, do you mean any council member, any member that didn't have a vote in the first, second, and third hearing of Bill 292? Anybody, any council member can make this request in writing within 5 working days after the mayor gives his decision, and I know, as sure as I'm standing here, he's going to veto it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Although I don't have the official word. We did check with LRB, had them do the research on that, and yes, any council member, the new council member that comes in, would be able to make a request for the reconsideration. And the reason for that is by the time the veto message does come to the council, it's going to be a new council seated. So yes. So you go, yes, any council member will be able to request.
I got one. Is Gregor still here? We wanted to have Gregor come up if he's still here.
It's on.
Anybody else? Okay, Mike Cookey has got a question, and then I see we got one here and one over here.
Okay, Dominic, is with Bill 292, is PGV exempt because they have been grandfathered in?
That's a good question. What Corporation Council basically told us was that we could not retro any permit that PVG had already garnered through previous permits, and PVG basically was allowed to have up to 60 megawatts of power out of that plant for that particular permit. Right now, I believe they're at 38. So basically, they still have 22 megawatts to go. So certainly, if they're going to develop that additional 22, that's with a previous permit. However, what we brought up at the last council meeting is, as you all read in the paper, that HELP was asking for a 50 megawatt RFP. So you just do the math. You know, obviously, they would be able to do up to 22 megawatts, but what about the other 30-somewhat megawatts, see? So to me, that would now require a new permit. You know, so it's obviously up to the legal beagles to try to, determine that. But that is correct that any entitlements that they've received from the previous permits, they are entitled to that, and we're not disagreeing with that.
Question over here.
My question is for Sid.
Sid, are you around?
Are the low frequency noises associated with electric booster stations or with electric plants? If you live near one of the electric plants, do they also generate low frequency noise that causes the same signal?
I'm not sure which kind of plants you're talking about, but the kind of things that create low frequency noise would be like compressors, air conditioning, vents, drilling. I mean, those types of grinding industrial sounds. There are electromagnetic pollution caused by other energy sources that have other effects, but not necessarily low frequency. I haven't read low frequency noise associated with certain types of electrical.
Do they also cause cancer?
Probably, yeah. I think I've read that they do. Yeah. A lot of things cause cancer.
I have two questions. One of them is something that I sort of heard rumored through the Coconut Wireless, which is that one of the reasons why geothermal is developing here is actually to funnel energy to Oahu, and I'm wondering if that's indeed true. And my other question is sort of a larger question. It's clear that we do need to get away from fossil fuels, and it's clear that we are going to at some point need another source of energy, and if it's not geothermal, then what is that energy source going to be? And it seems like there needs to be some kind of realistic plan that needs to be on the table, because that's not on the table right now.
I'll answer those questions. The first question is, a lot of legislation has been passed at the state on the cable. They have a PEIS for a cable. The governor has said that he thinks geothermal is fabulous and he'd like to see up to 1,000 megawatts of geothermal. Anybody that says that that's not the case is misinformed. If you go to the legislature and you look at what bills are being passed and you look at what the governor's saying, they definitely, this is not about 150 megawatt, more 50 megawatt power plant. As far as alternatives to geothermal, there's a lot of reasons to oppose geothermal for me. And, you know, I live there, health reasons, impacts on the community, no buffer zone, setbacks, noise, and economics. We pay 43 cents a kilowatt hour approximately for our power. PGV gets between 14 and 18 cents a kilowatt hour, I believe, and depends on what contract they have. So why do we pay 43 cents for our power? It's because of the centralized power grid. It's because of the grid. Helco only makes 3% or something like that, but they get a gross off the top. So the more they spend, the more they make. That's an outdated way to produce energy, and it creates a monopoly. You want all the power produced in one place, and you move it around in this grid so you can control that and make all the money. But it's costing us 3 or 4 times what it would cost to produce the power where we use it. And that's what's really nice about independent solar systems, which we have a lot of in Puna. I really like solar. I think there's a lot of amazing new technologies. Solar technology is progressing so fast that you can hardly track it, because I do track it. And I have a website at punapono.com that has all the new technologies that I can find. And if anybody has any other new technologies, there's all different kinds of research, and the price is plummeting. You can buy solar panels in Hilo right now, American-made solar panels for $1.17 a watt. When I bought my first panels in 1999, they were $10 a watt. 6 months ago, I bought some panels that were $1.50 a watt. So there's no other type of energy that is dropping in price. Geothermal is going to go up. Geothermal is going to go up because of the grid costs, even if they are able to bring it down to 8 to 11 cents, which is what they say. 8 to 11 cents is not that much less than 18 or 14 or whatever they're getting now. It's just, it's the cost of distributing the power, and then now they're going to have to create what they call a smart grid, where they're going to dump millions and millions, in the state it's billions of dollars, into smart grid technology. So there's no way your power, people on the grid, their price is going to go down. It's not going to happen. Even if geothermal were to be cheaper, the rates are going to still go up and solar prices are going to still drop. But we don't get that money. You know, for us out here in the community that we have done this, we grow our own food, we produce our own power, we are sustainable, a lot more so than anywhere else. We have a biodiesel plant in Keao, but there's no revolving fund. The main thing holding solar explosion back is that upfront cost for the system. It's not the long-term cost. So why does PGV get $200 million in grants? Not PGV, I'm sorry, Ormat Energy System. $200 million in grants, $350 million in TARP loans, $350 more million in partial loan guarantees, and Solandra and all these other large centralized power production companies, billions and billions of dollars, and there's no loan program for people in the community to put a solar system on their house and make a payment to that loan instead of to the, but you know why? It's going to put Helco out of business.
Hey, Bob, I have another question right here.
I hope that answers your question.
Hi, Bob.
Hi. Hey, Gene.
Aloha, everyone. It's so nice to see the family of neighbors and friends get together and stand up. So great that everybody took the time to come out here today. My question is something that Dominic is familiar with. I've asked him, I've asked Bob, I've asked Harry. I've asked everyone who's wearing a uniform. I've asked anyone who's taken an oath to the Constitution to tell the truth. I just want to see the people in my life that I depend on and that my son's life depends on get to the truth. And there are some elephants in the room, and I'm asking everyone, there are some elephants in the room that we are not addressing, and I don't have a silver bullet of how we address it. But I know I must, as you all must think about some of these elephants. And I humbly bring to you something a lot of you already know. What are some of the elephants, please? The Federal Reserve. Hang on, I'll get to that one. The Federal Reserve is so corrupt. Well, let's get a little specific here. They have the ability to print trillions of dollars in secret since 1913. And they can give it to their friends and make special deals, and the people are not allowed to audit them. So when we talk about economics and we don't bring that up, I feel it's mottainai, as Japanese would say, it's a waste of time. Okay, what about the questions, the overwhelming evidence that our government is hijacked? The Federal Reserve is a perfect example. You know, Bob asked, look at all these big corporations and these government entities that have all of this money. Where do they get this money? It's all very well coordinated. The New World Order exists. It's just a matter of lifting the veil and bringing in United Nations troops to enforce whatever they want to do. So I don't know where people...
Gregor, don't take off, man. I want you.
Stay, Gregor.
Yeah, see? Take off.
Well, Gene, I heard that you're kind of giving a speech more than asking questions.
Okay, bottom line, brother. I'm just looking for somebody, anybody who wears a uniform, who took an oath to the Constitution to address, and I didn't mention it, and I have to mention it now, because if you guys want home rule, you have to look at the truth and the reality that the Hawaiian kingdom, the Hawaiian nation, which you are a part of, if you want it, we are free. We don't have to secede. There is no treaty of annexation. I don't have a silver bullet, but the path to our freedom, if we can handle the truth, is there. And I am disappointed that people like yourself that I love and respect, and Dominic, and Harry say, there's only so much I can do.
Well, I'm disappointed you come here and disrupt my meeting because
I'm not disrupting you.
You are.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you, okay? You want to call it that, that's fine.
That's how I see it. You don't have to talk. Why are you talking those tones, bro? Talk like everybody else.
Ask your question, because this is question and answer time.
There is no treaty of annexation. I support. Okay, I said there is none that I know of. Okay, what has that got to do with what we're talking about?
Can I answer you?
If we can get on and move on after that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, what that has to do with it is every law that the county and the state and the federal government imposes upon the people, and it's not even a constitutional republic anymore. In 1871, they passed the District of Columbia. The United States government is a corporation.
All right, okay, please. That's up to Gene. You're disrupting my meeting. I'm building unity. I'm doing something.
Hey, that's why I stopped.
What he's speaking is the truth.
Order in the courthouse. Let's restore some order here.
You come and run the meeting, then next time you call the meeting and see how many people come.
Hey, let's bring it back.
Wait a minute, no! You told me that you wanted to bring this issue up, but you were going to lose people. Well, I don't want to keep people if they're not going to have the intellectual integrity to part of the truth. Come together. Right? You even asked